Are you all ready? Well, hold on to your seats because here it is. It's what you've been waiting for, with a great panel here tonight to judge those from a rank-and-file worker dreaming up a movie idea to the homebody writer who can't afford more than pen and paper. The perfect pitch is for you. And now, your host for tonight's show, the lovely, the talented, the Academy Award nominee, Cindy Fernandez-Nixon.
If you or someone you know is a writer out there looking for a way to get your idea on screen, stay tuned for the perfect pitch. Thank you and welcome to the Perfect Pitch. Tonight we're going to have some of the most prominent directors and producers in Hollywood bringing you over 100 years of experience to give some contestants the opportunity to bring their ideas to the feature films. So, are you ready? Are you excited? Before we start tonight's show, why don't we meet the judges?
Introducing Kevin Lee Andrews, CEO of Mind, Body, Spirit Productions. He's produced a staggering 28 television series within the last 12 years. The shows have been carried on CW, ABC, CBS, and every major network. Tim Gallagher, founder of Bluebird Films. His company has won several Emmy and Golden Globe Awards and has been nominated 8 times by the Academy with international awards from the Venice Film Festival to the Berlin International Festival. Kevin Tabb, president of Underdog Productions. He's an independent video maker known for his adventurous style mixing and has worked with such artists as Jennifer Lopez, Beyonce, Toni Braxton, and most recently, John Legend. Jasmine Sales, CEO of Sales Incorporated. Working outside the box and as an independent filmmaker, she has more than 48 features within the space of 10 years, covering dramas, fiction, and romance. She says failure is not an option for her, and if she can do it, so can you with the perfect pitch.
So now that we know the panelists, before we meet the contestants, let's talk about the rules. Each contestant will have 5 minutes to pitch their idea to the panelists. Throughout the entire 5 minutes, at any moment, the panelist can tap the buzzer and end the entire pitch. However, if the contestants make it through the entire 5 minutes, then the panelists will be able to either make a deal or leave it to the audience to... Truth or Pitch! That's right. So are you ready to meet our first contestant?
Hi, my name is Stephen LaGood from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I've been a writer for about 7 years now. I'm hoping that in all that time, I can show these judges I've got what it takes to get a contract for a major motion picture deal. That's not cocky, that's confidence.
Welcome, Steve, to the Perfect Pitch. How are you today?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
I am doing great. Are you excited to be here?
Yes, I am.
Are you ready?
I am ready.
Do you remember the rules?
Yes, I do.
All right, well, let's set the clock and pitch.
Thank you. How's everyone doing tonight? Good. I feel like this is an episode of The Twilight Zone. I have to keep reliving it. So, all right, so the story I have for you guys tonight is called The Shell. It's about this young boy called Greg Simmons who's been living his whole life in the 70s in New York City. And he's always had this dreadful fear of drowning in the ocean, along with his parents. So one week they decide to take a vacation trip to California, and there they meet this middle-class family called the Joneses, and they have a huge expectation of being rich. So Greg, being the little joker that he is, he decides to pull a prank on them to make them think that him and his parents are rich. Well, let's just say that he soon finds out the hard way that not everyone is in on the joke. So he goes to the gift shop to purchase some souvenirs. And when he arrives back to the hotel room, his parents and the Joneses have disappeared. So he wanders the beach in search of them. Nighttime quickly approaches, and he stumbles across a talking seashell who gives him these instructions. He meets up with this lifeguard called Tabitha. And
Sorry, man.
Aww. What happened out there, Steve, with the shell?
I gave it a shot.
All right, well, let's see what the judges have to say. Let's start with Mr. Andrew, since he tapped the buzzer.
Steven, I was looking at your script backstage, and I gotta be honest with you. Even before we came out here, I already had my mind made up. You know, this dark comedy and then this talking shell. I mean, I think we all can agree. I'll let them tell you what they think, but honestly, I'm not feeling it. You know, so I'm just gonna have to ditch.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, let's see what Ms. Sales has to say.
Doing independent films, we look for storylines that can be stretched. I kind of like that talking seashell as a concept. It could be used for something, but I think it would take too long for production. So with that being said, I'm gonna have to ditch your idea.
Oh, come on. Talking shell, you kidding?
We have 2 more judges, don't worry. Let's see what Mr. Gallagher has to say.
That's about what I can say right now. The concept of it would take too much time to explain. You're gonna go back, animation, things like that would have to be worked into this deal. If you could ever get backing, financial backing, it might be a hard sell for any company to take it on. So at that point, I'm gonna ditch that script.
Too bad.
We still have 1 more. Let's see what Mr. Tab has to say.
Well, Steve, I have to be quite honest with you. I think a lot of my peers have summed it up pretty well. I'm looking for something that would appeal maybe to a younger audience, not the children audience, maybe, within the teens to early 20s. And I just don't see that being something that we can, produce and really market. It just doesn't have a lot of marketability. I've seen, a lot of shows, and correct me if I'm wrong, it just seems like the idea stemmed from something that I've seen a while back. I think it needs a lot of work, man. So with that being said, I'm gonna have to ditch the idea.
Well, Steve, do you have anything to say?
Well, I guess it's back to the drawing board, make a couple fixes, and hopefully in the near future, maybe come back.
Hey, you never know, there's always next time. Thank you so much for being on The Perfect Pitch.
Thank you.
Our next contestant is coming from Boston, Massachusetts, and he said he's prepared for this his whole life. Let's meet him.
Hi, my name is Dwayne Hudstep. I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. I've been writing and had a love for performing arts since I was 7 years old. It's something I just fell into naturally. Remember when my parents used to take me to go see theatrical plays, and fell in love with it. It's in my blood, and I know that I got what it takes to throw the perfect pitch.
Welcome, Dwayne, to The Perfect Pitch. How are you today?
Oh, I'm doing excellent.
Are you ready to do this?
Sure, definitely.
All right, well, that was a great intro, by the way. So, do you remember the rules?
I think I do.
All right, well, let's set the clock and pitch.
Okay, audience, you ready? Yeah! All right, judges, are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I hope you guys love action, suspense thrillers, because that's what I wrote here in my script. It's called Unstable. The main character, the plot of the movie is an FBI agent who's deemed a threat to the agency because he uncovered a cover-up. He's ready to expose it. So now it's up to him to take down his fellow agents who are corrupted, who are also responsible for an abduction of a little child, a young girl, and the assassination of a governor. Now, before I go any further, just to let you know, when I wrote this script in mind for the main character, I had Denzel Washington. So keep that in mind whenever you think about this. And for his wife, Kerry Washington. Now, a little bit more about the protagonist on this. He's a former war hero, Marine lieutenant. His name is Reese Thorpe. He's a straightforward, honest type guy. The two things he loved the most in his life is his job and his family. And he's currently working for the FBI. He's a specialized intelligence agent. He instructs other agents in tactical planning. And everything's going smooth in his life, and then all of a sudden he's issued these new orders. He has to be reassigned, relocated, and he's overseeing an obscure operation by the executive director of intelligence for the FBI, an agent by the name of Christopher Meadows, who goes by CM. And now we'll just go to Agent Reese. He's already working outside of Pittsburgh, is where it's located. And basically, they're trying to protect the governor. He's giving a speech. He's addressing business community about a plan that he wants to initiate for a veterans program for war vets. And in the middle of the speech, he's assassinated, gunned down by sniper rifle fire. Reese and his team, they mobilize. They go after the guy, the assailant. They chase him down into a warehouse. And at the same time, what's happening, you see clips of a young girl being abducted in a home invasion, okay? So go back to CM. They already caught the alleged person who assassinated the governor, and CM's basically waiting for the report from Reese to come across his desk because it's an open and shut case. Reese, he's unraveled some information that says this is not an open and shut case, that this is possibly an agency cover-up with corrupt agents. CM doesn't want to hear any of this. He gets irate and does everything he can to get Reese kicked out of the agency. So Reese is no longer part of the FBI. So now he's going into this drunken depression state, doing a lot of drinking, and he's just not himself. He moved to a different house with his family. Is upset he can't provide for them like he used to. But he's also getting these images, this paranormal images of this young girl who was abducted, which leads him to, well, actually, you know what? I brought a trailer with me. So what we're going to do, rather than me go give you this long, boring speech, I'm just going to go straight to the trailer, and hopefully you guys will love it.
Actually, before we go into your trailer, we're going to take a short commercial break, so don't go anywhere.
Former war hero, Marine Lieutenant Colonel Reese Thorpe, seized by paranormal. 9 FBI Special Intelligence agent working as instructor of tactical planning. He's out of the blue issued new orders to oversee an obscure operation in outskirts Pittsburgh by Executive Director Intelligence Christopher Meadows.
This for real?
Yes, sir. They specifically asked for you.
This is a high value case.
Sir, but you've been questioned by your superior, CM. That should say it all.
Come on, come to once. Tell me something good. You want to see me?
Yes. I'm sure that you're aware of the assassination of the governor is being held over for trial.
Yes, I am aware.
Great, and I'm sure that you are aware that I need a full report of that day's activities on my desk to try and convict that case.
About that.
About that. So you're telling me that a decorated Marine, a thorough FBI investigator is having trouble with his paperwork? Are you?
That's something I want to talk to you about. Anything. This is research on some novel that is shooting with Dylan Watts. One of it was about the abduction of a little girl.
I told you the directors wanted the reports ASAP. Tell me why I shouldn't fire you right now.
Okay, I have some information about the missing girl.
What missing girl?
The 911 call about the kidnapping.
Are you kidding me right now? From this moment, consider yourself retired.
Excuse me, by any chance you wouldn't be in the real estate business, would you? As a matter of fact, I am.
I met the most remarkable woman today at the coffee shop.
What about her?
Well, for starters, she paid for everybody's coffee, and get this, she's a realtor.
What's the history of this house? I mean, do you know if there's any paranormal activities tied to this place?
Yeah. I think somebody was murdered in that house.
Murdered?
I don't see any reason for me to stay. You ran out of time when you let our daughter.
Hostile environment. I'm just that scared.
Excuse me, sir, but my husband just happens to be the most famous resort, and don't you forget it.
Don't let me forget.
No, I won't. Dad, there's somebody in this house.
Is this how you conduct business now? You can run, but you can't hide.
Maybe I should. Getting a lot less trouble, don't you think?
CM, I flushed him out. I did as you asked. Now where is she?
Patience. Bring her.
Daddy! Let me ask you something. Do you like Jolly Ranchers, Chris?
Yeah, I just hope that I'm alive, boy. Sacrifice everything up under the sky, boy. Cross my heart to wanna die, boy. Yeah. Feel like it's coming, I just hope that I'm.
Let's start bringing these damn books.
Alive, boy. Sing, Junior. Sing for the world. Sing for the people.
The audience loved your trailer. So you know what? Why don't we see what the judges have to say? Let's start with Mr. Andrew.
Big names. You know, the script to me, it's a good script. It's a good story. It's got a good storyline. But here's the problem. I see two problems. You got two big names. You got Denzel Washington and Kerry Washington. And let's be honest, man, to get them, you're talking, you know, that's $40 million. You know, for what your budget is, you ain't even coming close. And then on top of that, the script is only like 80 pages. I'm thinking you need to put a little bit more work into this before I would even consider, you know, making an offer on this. So with that, I'm gonna have to ditch. Sorry, you're all right. You'll be all right though, man.
Well, Miss Sales, what do you have to say?
For independent film, the budget is too large. It would be too large. It would take too long to plan. However, I do see the potential for home video release. But that being said, I'm gonna have to ditch you.
It's all right. The audience still loves it. Mr. Gallagher.
The trailer that you showed us, I liked it. But it was an economical trailer. It was like homemade. And more or less, you're covering like 5, 6, 7 storylines all at one time. And the fact is that like with a script being as light as it is right now, you have like ideas being one idea every 2 or 3 pages with no follow-up. So the way I'm figuring right now, for us being in our market, hot takes, alternative takes might be the only way we could go, but there's no big payoff for us. So with that, I would have to ditch this script.
Well, Mr. Tab, you have the floor.
I think that you came prepared, which is great. I admire that. You know, we get a lot of talent that comes through the show, and they don't quite come as prepared as you were.
Prepared, dude. He only had 80 pages in the script.
Well, he had a trailer prepared for us. That's something different. We don't get that a lot.
Yeah, okay.
But you know, let me reiterate back here, Mr. Andrews.
Who goes off the trailer?
I would like to first state that I think the storyline is a bit
dry.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Andrew. It is a bit dry. I mean, it's kind of got the same feel for it that every other action movie has. You know, we've got somebody who's getting kidnapped and all of those things, and we're not going to go that deep into it. I do think that there is a little bit more that could be put into it. Definitely want to go back and go back to the drawing board and just kind of reiterate on what it is that you want the storyline to be about. I definitely have a few guys that I'd be interested in connecting you with, but unfortunately at this time I'm gonna have to ditch.
Well, is there anything that you would like to add?
I gave him my best shot. I feel like I did come away with something, with information. I respect these guys and their expertise in their fields. And, I'm hoping that maybe with Mr. Tab, maybe some assistance, we could go back to the drawing board and come back stronger with this.
That's right. You're not walking away empty-handed. Thank you so much for being on The Perfect Pitch.
Oh, thank you, Cindy.
Our next contestant is coming from Cleveland, Ohio. And he says he's a man of 1,000 words and 1,000 talents, but we'll just have to see about that.
My name is Michael Murray, 22 years old, and I believe I can do anything I put my mind to. Straight out of Cleveland, I believe I can take my ideas from the page to the stage. And I believe that I have what it takes to give the perfect pitch.
Welcome, Michael, to The Perfect Pitch. How are you today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Are you excited? That was a great intro, by the way. Are you excited?
I am excited.
Are you ready to convince these judges that your pitch is going to be the pitch?
I'll do my best.
All right, well, do you remember the rules?
I do.
All right, well, let's set the clock and pitch.
Thank you. So, my pitch is it's a social drama, and it's a short story, and it's called The Truth Will Set You Free. Now, this is about a woman named Angela, and she lives in New York in downtown Manhattan apartment, and she's got some mental instabilities, or she's bipolar, if you will, and and this causes her to hide a lot of secrets, especially the big one, which is her ex-fiance was in an untimely accident, and she had something to do with it, of course. So now, Anthony, her ex-fiance, has a brother, and his name is Pete. Now, Pete is distraught about this whole thing, and he really wants to know what went on, and how he can give justice for his brother. So one day they meet at Angela and Pete. They meet at an art gallery that Anthony used to own, and he's and they're there and they're talking, they're hitting it off, and finally they decide they're gonna make a date and talk somewhere else and get to know more. So they exchange information and they go their separate ways. Now later they decide that Pete decides that he wants to change the plans and he wants to wine and dine her at his place. Now Angela comes over and she agrees. So she comes in, he makes her dinner, and they're laughing, they're having a good time, and they talk about a lot of things. And finally Pete decides it's time to expose her for what she really is. So he starts asking questions, and she's dodging questions, and he's asking more, and she's dodging more, and he gets impatient, and he can't break her yet. And finally Pete gets impatient, and he decides to go straight for it, and she breaks down, she's crying, and she can't take it anymore. The pressure is just killing her. It's too much pressure for her, and she just breaks. And Pete, being a man of understanding, he knows where she's coming from and why she did what she did, but it was the only way, and he couldn't let her off the hook because he needed to bring justice for his brother. That's my pitch.
Great. How do you feel about that?
I'm feeling really confident with that.
Are you sure? You know what? Let's ask the audience. What do you guys think about it? Ooh. We have some mixed feelings out there. So you know what? We're going to have to go to the judges. Let's start with Mr. Tab.
Well, Mike, I like it. It seems like the audience is in tune. It's definitely something that I could see myself working with. There's a lot of opportunity for growth. I especially like your talent. Being at such a young age, I think that there's so much more that we can do and elaborate on. This is definitely one of those things that I would like to be involved in. With that being said, I would pledge $20,000 to have a startup fund towards your film, and I'll take that pitch.
Thank you.
Mr. Gallagher.
The dynamics of what you just got done talking about, mixed in with the Mr. Tab and his music video plays, I can see where the emotion quality of this script would be one-to-one, like a more or less a two-person type of idea. And so because of that, you would have like a lot of sensual music playing in the background. They would have like a lot of conversations. It'd be kind of intimate and all that. With the idea you're trying to get this guy to try to crack this woman to the point like he wants her to confess about something that happened in the past. And the fact is that like it has no real place with our company because we're into biographies and documentaries. Even the outtakes and all that kind of stuff would be too slow of a payback for us. So at this point in time, I'm going to have to ditch that script.
It's okay, there's two more. Miss Sales?
Casting would have to be with an exact role of an exotic female with a psychotic flair. If you're willing to be able to start within 3 weeks.
Yes, that'd be perfect.
I think we would also have to find a strong leading male. With that being said, I would pledge about $100,000 for startup. What? Yeah. I see potential in this.
Okay. I mean,
but I would also want to receive 15% on the back end. And if you're willing to work with me on that, I will take your pitch.
Thank you.
I have to say, Michael, when she said a leading exotic woman, I'm just saying you're standing next to one.
That might work.
Yes. All right, well, last but not least, Mr. Andrew.
Okay, this is a pretty good script, young man. And I'm seeing wine and dine and she-devil. But I was looking at this script and I'm kind of interested in what's going on in scene 5. So I would like to be able to, if we could see that scene, that would really put things in perspective.
Absolutely. So while Michael's getting scene 5 and his actors together to present it to the judges, let's take a quick commercial break.
Oh, sure. It's easy for you to talk about what you've done or how you've forgiven yourself. You caused the pain, but I was victimized.
Yes, I agree. But you'll never get free until you forgive.
Get free? You fool! Do you know what he did to me? How low he sunk?
Yeah, that's it. Get free.
I gave him the best years of my life. I did everything for him.
Maybe he didn't appreciate you. He used you, and he didn't know it.
Oh, no. He knew. He thrived on it. He loved it.
And that's why you hated him.
Oh, no, that's an understatement. He did not care about my feelings, nor my thoughts. I was just his doormat.
He emotionally abused you. But can you forgive?
Forgive him? Screw you, okay? And screw him. He doesn't deserve my forgiveness.
But Angela, God loves you. And he wants you to be free from torment.
What does that mean? What did you hear?
I didn't hear anything but your confession.
He needs to confess, not me. I didn't do anything.
There must be something.
There's nothing.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
There has to be, Ange. Now tell me.
No! Stop! Please. I just wanted him to love me. You know, he had been seeing some girl at work, and he told me that it was over. I didn't want to believe him, but I wanted to make sure. So I went to his job to surprise him, and I didn't see his car, but I had a funny feeling that he was with her. So I went to his house, and I seen him. I I didn't want to hurt him. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
That was excellent. But you know what? Let's see what Mr. Andrew has to say now.
I seen it. I like it. But as I said, as I was thinking, it's a good concept. It's a good storyline. You know, really good story, especially being. You said this is your first story.
Yes, sir.
Being your first story. However, it's nothing that I see in the near future being on the film. You only got 2 characters. I see this being a stage play. Honestly, I don't want to discourage you. My suggestion is to go back and work on this and build it up a little more, and then maybe come back later on in the season and we can see what you got. But until then, I'm gonna have to ditch.
Don't get discouraged. You have 2 offers on the table. So what are you gonna do?
They're both really great offers. I wish I could keep them both, but you know, I'm gonna have to go with Miss Sales on this one.
Let me stop you there, Mike, because if it's any consolation to you, would like to be a part of this. I'd like to collaborate with you on this. I think this young gentleman has a lot of talent. I think that there's a lot that we can do. We can further progress this and make this young gentleman a superstar. So if it's all the same to you guys, I'd like to collaborate on this.
Wow. So how do you feel about that?
It's way better than I expect to get from this. I'm actually really excited, and I know that this film's gonna hit a lot of people at home. You know, with the whole mental instability thing, there's a lot of people dealing with that, and you know, people are gonna respect that. People are gonna feel that, and you know, I'm just ready for this to get big.
Perfect. All right. Well, good luck to you, and thank you for being on the Perfect Pitch.
Thank you so much.
He's just excited. Our next contestant is from Newport News, Virginia, and she is so excited. You know what? I'll let you see her intro.
My name is Doreen Gall of Newport News, Virginia, and I've been a big fan of Steven Spielberg and Stephen King my whole life. I hope the judges aren't afraid of the dark, because I have a script that'll knock their socks right off before it reaches the big screen. I hope you're ready, judges, because the Queen of Horror is in the house, and I'm ready to throw the perfect pitch.
Wow, Doreen. That is what I call an intro. That was amazing. How are you today? Welcome to the Perfect Pitch.
Thank you. And I'm wonderful, by the way. How are you?
I am doing great. I'm excited to hear this story, by the way.
Oh, good. I'm excited to share it with you.
Are you even a little bit nervous?
I'm not really nervous, but I'm just hoping that the judges like horror and sci-fi.
Well, you see this confidence? What do we give her? Are we giving her a round of applause? This is going to be amazing. So, do you remember the rules?
I absolutely do.
All right, so let's set the clock and pitch.
Okay, great. First of all, I just want to start off and tell you, judges, I'm excited to be here. And my first question to you is, have you ever thought about what you might be doing in the year 2057? Well, it's really not too far from now, but what I want you to think about is imagine with all the craziness that's going on in our world today, imagine a nuclear disaster and a blast so big that it wipes out the entire world except for 3 countries. So if you can just imagine the devastation and the people that are left behind, the vast majority, or 3/4 of the people that are left behind, are infected and become zombies, okay? So they're inhuman now. And there's a small percentage of people that are not affected. And that small percentage of people are going to be led by Captain Rogers, which is the name of my script, okay? And Captain Rogers, who is a hero, he's a commander, a pilot, he's just this big, superhuman, just invincible. And he's going to lead these humans that are left, he's going to lead them around the country, the 3 countries, and find the 5 doctors that can save the human race. Now, if you would, just for a minute, just imagine that our country is completely devastated, and you know, we have zombies everywhere. Now, those of you that have seen horror movies, you understand zombies. They're not nice, okay? So Captain Rogers is going to take his posse, so to speak, and his posse is Stuff and Stuff, who is half human and half bear. And he's going to take him with him because, you know, being half bear, he has excellent trekking skills. And he's also going to take his daughter, Koba. And Koba is, you know, she's real witty and she's a swordswoman. She's excellent, you know, she's not to be messed with. So these are the three strong main characters. And of course, every hero has an evil nemesis, right? So in my script, Parrish is the evil nemesis. Now, Parrish is a pilot before he's infected. And so now he's a zombie pilot, which makes it even worse because he's already evil before this. So now he's really evil, and he loves it. And so he's not ready he doesn't want to change. He wants to stay a zombie. So now, in order for them to change, to save the world, Captain Rogers has this temporary antidote. Now, what he has to do is he has to seek out the 5 doctors that are left in the world that are the only ones that combined together can save the world by producing the serum that's going to be permanently used to save the human race. So without them, you know, a temporary fix is not going to save us. So they go on this quest in this tricked out mega RV, if you will. Just, you know, try to imagine it's like this armor vehicle, RV. It can fly, it can drive, it can float, it can go underwater. It's just amazing, right? And in this movie, you're going to have a lot of horror, but you're also going to have a lot of special effects. So he's going around the world and he's finding these doctors. And because Parrish, you know, he wants to stay a zombie, he wants to control the world, he's gonna give them as much resistance as possible. So they have to get the doctors and they have to get to Antarctica. And why Antarctica? Well, because that's the only lab in the world that they can get to that they can use that hasn't been contaminated. So they have to get to Antarctica. So he manages to get all 5 doctors, and they come together. They put their smarts together while they're under the temporary antidote, and the world is saved because the serum is produced, and mankind and human race is saved. So when I was writing my script, I had Mr. Andrews in mind to play Captain Rogers. Yes. That's my pitch.
Well, Doreen, that was amazing. That's pretty interesting. You know what? Let's start with Mr. Tab and see what he has to say.
Wow, that was phenomenal. Absolutely amazing. However, in my envisionment, I kind of picture Mr. Rogers with long wavy locks. No offense to you,
just jealous, man, because he got this.
However, I think that's great. I liked your energy. I like the presence. I like the overall appearance of the film and the idea that you have there. I'm gonna have to say, let's go ahead and pitch it. I'll take that pitch.
Mr. Gallagher.
When you began your pitch, I started thinking merchandising right away. Toys, games, videos, board games, clothing, stuffed animals. It'd be immense. The fact is, if the story would even rival that, it would be even more immense. So I mean, right now, like the departments that we have will be able to take in, like let's say, like special DVDs, where we would do alternate takes, deleted scenes, stunt work, working with miniatures. We would do all that for you. We would provide facilities, crews, technical computer expertise, and we would be able to marry into whatever they have here for price in mind. So with that idea, I want to take that pitch.
You have 2 in the bag so far. Miss Sales.
Well, Doreen, I love your enthusiasm. That was a great pitch. I can see this being a spring flick with a release date set for Christmas. But I want to pull the cast from the Pittsburgh area. And that being said, I would offer a budget amount of $750,000. So with that being said, I'm going to take your pitch as well.
Wow. You really are on a roll. Now, the man of the hour, your superstar, Mr. Andrew.
Thank you. Since I'm the star of this film, let me take my time. I'm with these guys. I mean, wow, that was phenomenal. Not only a great job by you, but the script. You know, I read it probably 3 or 4 times already. I'm in agreement with these guys, except for one thing. I don't think that this should be a film. I'm gearing more towards a television show, maybe 13, 14 episodes. Now, if these guys would mind collaborating with me on that, I'm prepared to offer you $500,000, $500,000, which will bring the budget to around $6.5 million. We would ask for 15% on the back end, 15% for merchandise. That would be between us 4. How's that sound? Does that sound something like you guys do?
It sounds like we got a deal.
Okay, well then in that case, I will accept that pitch.
There you go. You have managed to get all 4 judges on your side. How do you feel?
Oh, I feel like, is this really a dream or what? Like, is this real?
It is real. So what are you going to do? What's the first thing you're going to do when you go back home?
Oh, boy, I don't know. I'm going to celebrate right now. I'm not going home. Woo!
She's going to run around the block. Thank you, Doreen, for being on The Perfect Pitch.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Thanks, judges. Mwah.
Now, that's what I call a perfect pitch. So if you're sitting at home wondering how to take your ideas to the next level, then the answer is The Perfect Pitch. My name is Cindy Fernandez Nixon, and I'm your host for tonight. Have a great night.